Welcome back to 2 p.m. with the Trigger on a Wednesday, the last day of May. Yes, tomorrow, June is here. Summer is really upon us now, and I hopefully you're in for a great summer. We're going to continue doing 2 p.m. all summer long, 2 p.m. with the Trigger, about 10 to 15 minutes. There's conversations, insight, there's interviews. And speaking about interviews, tonight you do not want to miss How to Rock the Stage show. Very special guest tonight, Sergio Navarrete, film director, and he recently completed a film called The Cuban. And The Cuban has won amazing awards, and we're going to get into the idea of unleashing your creativity. You're going to want to join us 7 p.m. Eastern Time, streaming on many of these same channels and more with Sergio Navarrete. And we're going to get into creativity, mindset. Hey, I'm a film geek. It's going to be a great show. You don't want to miss it. So come on back and join us. But today during 2 p.m., we are going to get into a little bit of a discussion on stop struggling with playing to your weaknesses and play to your strengths. You know, people are struggling. And a lot of it is we've been told over and over again to work hard on fixing the areas that they're weakest at. Schools have taught us that for years and years and years. You need to pull this grade up. You need to pull this area up. You need to work harder in this area. You're not achieving what you want to. Several years ago, it's going to be more like 20 years ago, to be honest, I was put onto an amazing book called Strength Finders. And the concept really revolutionized what I do, who I am, how I lead. But it really changed me as I wrestle with always trying to pull up my weakest areas instead of playing to your strengths. We struggle with that. I struggle with that immensely. Growing up, I was always trying to pull up that weakest area. Growing up, I knew I was a creative. Growing up, I knew I had an amazing fantasy of mine, a dream. I see everything in movies. That's what I'm really excited about tonight with Rock the Stage, talking to Sergio. But I've always been that way. And yet the black and white, the keeping inside the lines, the being a mathematician, figuring out physics and science did not match my creative side. But I was told, achieve it, push it, do it. I wasted so much energy trying to do that it limited my other natural skill set and it kept me boxed down. Can you relate to that? Can you relate to the fact that you may be struggling in your career, in your new business, as an author, as whatever you do? You may be struggling because you are not living in your sweetest spot, because you're fighting on the weakest area instead of leaning into your greatness. That's what Strength Finders was all about. Strength Finders was a great book. And right now, again, I'm going to share this link right now. Strength Finders was a book. It's a test. I do not get any revenue. This is not an affiliate pitch at all. This is just helping you move the line forward where you need to be. As a creative, once I found out, it kind of gave the approval to lean in further and further instead of hide it, instead of bring it down. I have enough administration gifts in me to help me be a good administrator, but I'm not a finisher. I'm a creator. So I administrate, I build, and I hand the ball off. I had to learn that and how to trust that and do that better. This book, Strength Finders, helped me do that in amazing ways. So the basic concept is really pretty simple, but you got to ask yourself, number one, what are you naturally good at? You don't have to think about it. You don't have to practice for it. You don't have to study hard. What is that stuff that naturally flows out of you and you go, I got this? Now, for some people, it is math. It is science. It is things that I don't deal with. That's great. No one said you have to be like Trigger or like anybody else. The idea is to stop struggling and live in your sweet space, leverage your sweet space so you can impact the world better, your business, your life, your family. And there's freedom in that. There is freedom in knowing, look, I'm good here and I'm weak here. And believe me, the idea of being weak in any area doesn't sound good. It's not a mark against you. It's not anything that you've done to be weak in that area. It's just not naturally you. So instead of beating yourself up, Strength Finders, as the title talks about, is living in that strength that helps you as a media coach, as a brand expert. I love having conversations and turning it around for, I'm working so hard, Rich. I'm working so hard. This is not working. I've tried this. I bought that course. I've done that. It's just not working. And then we get in the conversation and find out, so tell me what you really want to do. What do you always want to do? And they start sharing these ideas, and then they stop and go, yeah, I've just never felt that I could. And you pause and you realize they really want to do this, but they're looking for someone to approve it, encourage it, to amplify it. And it's so fun to tell people, you have this, and this going for you. Go do it. That'd be great. I bet you would home run that. You would crush it. And when they come back and talk to you and they begin living in that strength, you see them lift up. A lot of people that are struggling are hunched down, their heads down, their emotions are down. They're trying to lead, but they're not leading from their best. One of the areas that I was always told that in my communication areas was, you're a good storyteller. And I went, okay, great, fine, but I'm a keynote professional speaker. I have to be all proper. And I even had ties, and I did all those things, but it constrained me. It actually limited my ability to shine bright. What it did was I finally stepped in and said, heck, if that's not working, maybe I should go with my heart, my mind, my spirit tells me I should do, and start just shining and speaking and sharing, and let my passion come across and not try to bottle it up and be so stiff-necked in that. And that was part of my strength of storytelling and communicating, was I moved the line. Strength Finders is great because I also have to realize, in a healthy way, I don't have to work on this as much. I should be aware of it. I should know, by knowing my strengths, I'm going to identify my weaknesses better, and I'll be able to recognize how those are a trap. Jokingly, I've talked about many years when we were in church ministry and we were rebuilding out a building. I had the vision, I had the plans, I had the dreams, and we talked it through and built it out. I had a great team to come together with that. But then it came to actually painting, assembling things, putting in bathroom stalls for the new bathrooms, all these great things we did. And my team knew me well enough. They knew my strength, but I still wanted to help out. I still wanted to pick up a brush and paint. And a couple of my team members said, no, we don't need you here. Very gently, very kindly, they said, we don't need you. And this is not your strength. We will have to go back and repair and fix what you build, what you paint, what you saw and hammer. We're going to have to go fix that because that's not your strength. Instead, your strength is the visionary. Your strength is the leader. And we need you to stay there because you need to tell us how this should really look and flow. It was a letdown. I'll admit that it was a letdown that I couldn't do some of the things I wanted to do. But it was also a confidence builder to do the things I was meant to do and stand in my authority, stand in my space, stand at the conference, and have my team members applaud it and cheer it because that's what they needed me to do. What about you? Are you struggling and banging your head? One of the ways to do it is focus and practice and focus on practice on it, standing in your sweet spot, no matter what anyone else says against you. Learn how to own that space, that thing that makes you unique. Again, we always talk about it here at 2 p.m. I'm here to help you shine on camera, shine on stage, to help you amplify you, your brand authority as that go-to expert. As a go-to expert, you need to show your uniqueness, not conform to be everybody else. You need to shine in that space and that genius that you have that separates you from the crowd. And people stop and go, yeah, that's different, but it's working for him. I think I could learn something from him, from her, from that organization. And when you stand in that space of your strength, you actually are more attractive, more compelling to people that you want to work with. Let go of trying to be what you're not meant to be. Let go of trying to be the president, the CEO, the formal person, if that's you. Vice versa. If you're trying to be the casual person, you need and want to be more professional, and that's really wiring you, go for it. If you are an artist, but you've never really leaned into it, start painting, start doodling, start drawing, start sharing, and let people see it, because your strength will far outshine and carry you than the areas that you're not as strong as. I am not a detailed person. Ask any of my family, any of my close friends. I am not a detailed person, except for when I'm in a creative space. When I do this, the world disappears. This is the best. When I interview, when I talk with all the thousands of different people that I've talked with, I'm in my shiny, bright spot that I'm in. And I found freedom in that, because if you've ever been around listening to the show, I'm not a news journalist. I'm a broadcaster. I am not a news journalist that's going to sit behind the news and say, tonight at 5 p.m., 5 people were killed in a tragic accident, followed by a gun shooting. And no, that's not me. Because I get tongue-tied, I get twisted, my stutter kicks in, because I get too emotional. However, I get emotional and energized and passionate in a different way when I'm here being my best version of myself and shining brightly. Again, if you are in a place of trying to figure this out, I highly recommend Strength Finders. Strength Finders will help ask you questions. I actually have a personality type profile to go through to help you navigate this. They will show you where you're good, where you're bad, where you're weak. I went on an amazing journey. And then I kind of became a junkie on some of those personality profiles, and I wanted to test it. I wanted to see if this was really true, or was a one-shot thing that came out for Trigger. I have done multiple ones over the year, professionally, for businesses, for things that I want to do personally, and it comes back time and time again. This is who you are. These are your strengths. And it clarifies the danger areas that I can mess up my own projects, my own goals, by dabbling in instead of staying in my sweet lane. Empower your teams. Empower the people you work with to find that strength. Encourage them to be there. You may have to move your team. You may have to reinvent who goes where, because you may have someone out of position that is desperately trying to work for you. And however, they're actually hurting the company. They're hurting your goals and your mission, because that's not their strength. Stop struggling. Start playing to your strength. Learn to have a great time. Learn to shine brighter. On whatever stage you're on, you have a stage. The stage is your business. The stage is your family. The stage is your church. The stage is whatever you pour passion in. Yeah, that natural energy, that's your stage. Coming up tonight, we are going to have a fantastic show. You do not want to miss this show tonight. Sergio Navarrete will be my guest, and we're going to be talking about creativity. It ties right into this a little bit, about the creative side and unleashing your creativity. Join me at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for How to Rock the Stage. And don't forget, How to Rock the Stage is now a podcast, an audio podcast. Besides the streaming TV show, it's a streaming audio podcast. We will have the interview live tonight on these same platforms and more. We will re-air it on audio. And we have a big announcement tonight coming up on the show about our audio podcast. So you don't want to miss it. A very fun, exciting show, 7 o'clock Eastern Time for How to Rock the Stage. And we go Hollywood. We'll see you then. It's the Trigger, Rich Bontrager, 2 p.m. live. We'll be back here tomorrow with a special guest during 2 p.m. live.